As a part of taking Anatomy and Physiology 2 online, there are 2 sets of exercises that you will need to work through on your own, considered as homework, before you can complete the associated exercises with the Canvas shell. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to access the PhILS assignments. To access the PhILS assignments, I have placed a direct link in an announcement on the Canvas shell how to get there. Also, as a side note, you can access all of the PhILS exercises by logging into your McGraw-Hill account and choosing the PhILS exercises from the navigation pane on the right-hand side. I find that going directly to the PhILS sub-website is much easier. To get there, you go to http://phils4.mheducation.com/. One thing to keep in mind is that every time you go there, you are going to be prompted to download and install the most recent version of Adobe Flash Player. This actually is not necessary. If you click on Get the Latest Version, it's going to take you to a very complicated set of downloads that will seemingly send you in circles and be frustrating. However, you likely already have the most recent version of Flash on your computer. That's why this becomes so frustrating. I will recommend to you now to click the F box instead. By clicking the F box, you are simply using the available plugin as opposed to downloading a whole new version. I click on the F box, but I get a message prompting me that you can't see on your screen now that says that the plugin has been blocked. What you need to do is then go to the Information tab, and you'll see that it has been blocked. This may or may not happen to you. If it does, you simply need to go to Allow, and then reload or refresh the screen. So it will now prompt you to log in to your McGraw-Hill account. The login to allow you to access the PhILS assignments is the same email address you used to set up your McGraw-Hill account to begin with. This should be your Baker email address, and the password for this is the same as the password for your McGraw-Hill account. Once you enter both of those successfully and hit login, you will be taken to this table of contents. This lists every PhILS assignment that you could be assigned with plus others. For Module 1, the first 2 PhILS assignments that you will be responsible for are PhILS assignments 12 and 15. I'm going to take you into exercise 12 and show you what it's like. This is exercise 12. The very first thing you should do is get familiar. Across the top is your navigation pane, and this is going to acquaint you with where you are in the laboratory. The very first thing you are going to see are the objectives of this laboratory. This tells you everything you should be very comfortable with and understand by the time you are finished performing this simulation. What you need to do from here is push continue. There is some introductory reading that will be very helpful for you. Your PhILS assignment associated with your Canvas homework is going to be based off introductory information as well as the performed wet lab and laboratory exercise. So read through the introduction from beginning to end, and when you are finished, push continue. The wet lab explains to you what happens if someone were to perform this experiment in real life. This talks about the experimental animal model and how it was utilized to obtain results. Please read through this information and take notes as you see appropriate. You will then be prompted to take a pre-lab quiz. You are now given the option to restart the quiz or skip the quiz. The grade that you obtain here will not be recorded in your Canvas homework. When you are completed with this assignment, you will go in and take your Canvas homework that may or may not have questions associated with both the pre-lab and post-lab quiz. It is a good idea to practice this to see how good your comprehension is over the information you have read so far. For our example today, I am going to skip the quiz. Now you are in the laboratory exercise. This is the important part of the homework. Notice here there are a few important things. This is the experimental setup, and as you go through, please read the instructions step by step. This particular experiment starts with step 1 and has 17 steps until it's complete. One thing that PhILS does is if you do not have the step 1 completed correctly, you cannot move on to step 2. Then you must get step 2 completed correctly and completely before you can move on to step 3. As you go through, it will prompt you and guide you what you are to perform next. There is also a journal. You can record observations and important details about your experiment. If there is specific data that you need, will be automatically recorded for you. If you are trying to perform a particular step but feel a bit lost, there are certain items that have been underlined that will show you where they are on the screen so that you can follow to the next step. One thing to keep in mind is that the lab instructions may be more than what you see here. You may have to use the arrows to scroll down further. However, if you keep scrolling, notice that you're going to see steps beyond what you're currently working on. The difference is your current step will be highlighted in black, where the steps you have not yet gotten to are in a gray-blue hue. Your goal is to complete all 17 steps or how many ever steps are in the PhILS exercise. When you are complete with that, you then go on to the post-lab quiz, and it gives you a full lab report. This post-lab quiz is a great study tool as it will help prepare you to do the homework associated with Canvas. You can have the choice here to also restart the quiz or skip the quiz. After you finish each question, please select Continue to go to the next question. For our example here, I'm going to skip the quiz. One thing to keep in mind, if you choose to skip quizzes, it will not let you go back unless you completely exit out and restart. And in that case, you would have to restart from the beginning at the introduction and scroll forward. At the very end of the lab, you are going to be given a conclusion. This conclusion will wrap up the learning points that you have just participated in. When you are finished reading the conclusion, please select Finish Lab. When you are finished, you can save your lab report as a PDF, or you can choose to print the lab. You will not be turning in these PDFs. However, these assignments are going to be useful study tools as you continue on to your Canvas homework and continue to study towards the midterm practical and the final practical. These are good tools to keep in your study reserves. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at any time.